السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We welcome all of you tonight. It's a very special night and very special great speakers with us tonight. Alhamdulillah. I welcome all of those who are here in the masjid, brothers and sisters, and welcome all of those who are joining us on the Facebook. I'm getting your questions on outreach at ALNOORIC.org, and I got already some questions. Alhamdulillah, we will present these questions to Dr. Mu'in Al-Khutba, inshallah. And Dr. Mu'in is the president of Guidance College, located in Houston, Texas. He is a professor of Islamic Studies with this specialization in Islamic Finance. So tonight is not going to be lecturing more than interaction. I will give Dr. Mu'in about 10-15 minutes to introduce Islamic finance, what is the importance of that, and why should we be concerned as Muslim Ummah on detailing our finances and making it halal. فأي لحم نبت من حرام فالنار أولى به. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from that, inshallah. With that, I will change the camera to Dr. Mu'in, inshallah, and he will start his 10 minutes, and then we'll follow up with the questions and answer from here, and then we'll be balanced between here and those who are online, inshallah. Dr. Mu'in, Bismillah.
Jazakallah khair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma قلوبنا بالعلم وزين أخلاقنا بالحلم وافتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله الحمد لله لا شريك له لا إله إلا هو إليه النشور. أمسينا على فطرة الإسلام وكلمة الإخلاص وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. اللهم إنا أمسينا منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتم علينا نعمتك وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما أمسى بنا من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك، فلك الحمد ولك الشكر. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا، ثم ما بعد. أحبتي، brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وطبتم وطاب ممشاكم وتبوأتم من الجنة منزلا بإذن الله. Thank you so much for welcoming me. Thank you for Dr. Hamdi Radwan. Thank you so much for Masjid al-Noor. Thank you for Mass North Carolina. Thank you for all of you for coming physically to the masjid, and for those brothers and sisters who are attending online to attend this short presentation about Islamic finance. If you get a chance today to attend Khutbah al-Jum'ah, I was focusing on the importance of preserving the Muslim identity in this society. I would add to that tonight that a part of this challenge is how to conduct our business transaction and how to run our financial affairs according to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the one who commands us to pray and fast is the one who prohibited gambling and prohibited interest and prohibited misrepresentation and ambiguity in transactions. One of the biggest challenges here is how to be financially functional in this society here without exceeding your limits, while observing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, staying away from whatever is prohibited. Problem here is that the whole economic and finance system is a capitalist one. Riba is a built-in component in the system. You are surrounded from all over with different interest-bearing transactions, and your job, your responsibility as a practicing Muslim is not to compromise your identity, is to keep navigating from within the system to find a halal way or a semi-halal way to conduct your business. You start with making some saving for your kids. What kind of account you should open? Is 529 is the proper account for me? Can I set my portfolio accordingly? Can I make sure that this portfolio is 100% Sharia compliant and halal investment? How about AGMA account for the kids, for the minors? I want to have a kind of financial stability and sustainability for myself and for my family members during my lifetime and after my death. How about the 401k that I have, or the 503b if I work for non-for-profit organizations, or the pension plan if I work for the government, for example? How can I make sure that this kind of retirement account actually is as Sharia compliant as possible? And if the answer is no, it is not, where to go from here? Should I compromise my retirement account and just live without having anything left over for my family members or not? When it comes to housing and just purchasing my own home for residential purposes, what are the options that I have? Is it an option for me to have life insurance? What is the mainstream fatwa when it comes to life insurance? Is there any exception? Do you have another man or the same one? Yeah, just kidding. Is there any like different fatwa or different opinions when it comes to life insurance? If the answer is no, is there any kind of exception for us Muslims living here in this society? Holding and using credit card, is it something that haram? Is it white and black issue, or there is a gray area in between? And the list actually goes on and on. Again, this is one of the challenges that we face, and we have to take the challenge. I mean, we cannot just excuse ourselves by saying, okay, riba actually is surrounding us 24/7. There is no way to avoid it. Let's just move on and just follow the herd and live like other people. This is absolutely incorrect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be obeyed in all aspects of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be obeyed every time, everywhere. Whether you live in Mecca al-Mukarramah or you live somewhere else in Las Vegas, it doesn't make any difference. You have to observe the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islamic finance is not a simple, an easy topic, but meanwhile it is not that complicated. I mean, we can just keep talking about Islamic finance from now until tomorrow morning, but this is not the purpose actually of this presentation. It's just to like brainstorm some ideas. It is just to open your appetite for different questions that you have in mind. It is just to bring to our attention that maybe another challenge we are facing here is that unfortunately until today, and I pray that I'm wrong, but until today, the Muslim community is not fully utilizing its financial, its intellectual, its human resources. Okay, we are not putting our resources together to declare our independence financially in this society. We have an unlimited amount of opportunities on how to functionalize and how to activate Islamic finance and how to conduct Islamic transactions away from riba. Believe it or not, we can set another parallel Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae if we put our resources together, and if we have one vision and one leadership, and we are willing to follow and to sacrifice for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by putting our resources, we can definitely set whatever we need and establish our own Islamic organizations who can function according to the Islamic finance system. Unfortunately, until today, I would say, I don't want to be like pessimist, but I would say that we still have actually a long way to go for us Muslims to be strong enough, to be established enough. If you make a very quick comparison between the Muslim community and some other minorities here in the USA, you can easily tell that there is no way to make a comparison to start with. If you look at the Jewish community, for example, how influential they are when it comes to politics, when it comes to media, when it comes to setting the law of the land, when it comes to money and finance, I mean, they are almost like taking control of everything. Of course, we cannot copy and paste their their experience 100%, because we do have some limitations and restrictions where they do not, right? But at the end of the day, we should take them as a role model when it comes to putting resources together while observing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I wish no one would take me wrong. While observing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while adhering to our deen, we should actually put our resources together so we can be more influential, more impactful here in this society. We can establish our own Islamic organizations when it comes to human rights, when it comes to finance, when it comes to mortgaging, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to mutual fund and investment in the stock market. We have, again, unlimited amount of opportunities actually to function, but unfortunately until now we are still, I would say, behind. However, it's never too late. Hopefully, inshallah, this discussion or this presentation actually would motivate us, inshallah, to think seriously of how to collaborate and cooperate and put our resources together, inshallah, to activate a genuine and sound Islamic finance practice in the USA. وَمَا ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِعَزِيزٍ. I would limit myself, Dr. Hamdi, to this introduction and just open the floor for a question and answer, as simple as that. And of course,
few points, just housekeeping. I would give the mic to Brother Bara. Raise your hand, Bara. He will come to you when you raise your hand. Please make the questions just questions, not comment and no comment, because we need to accommodate many of you, and I have lots of questions came online, and we'll start with one of them, inshallah, and move forward, inshallah. So we have one here, and first one from online is coming from Canada. Doctor, the sister is saying she wants to save some fund for her children for the school, for the دراسة. In Arabic, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله، ازاي احافظ على فلوس العيال للدراسة بشكل حلال؟ حتى في سجع في الكلام. فلوس العيال بشكل حلال. الحمد لله. بعيد عن الربا.
No. Well, that's a very good question. We should actually.
So the question is how we save fund for children for college, for example, without getting engaged in riba.
That's a good question. It's a very good practice actually, and a habit that we have to, to establish, which is the habit of saving money, and investing money. We need actually to build up and establish this habit and train our kids how to be financially responsible from day one. They do have some money, and to answer the question of my sister here, you have more than one option. There's something called 529 for those who are living here in the US, exclusively for the education of the kids. So you can start with as simple as maybe $50 or $100 a month. The good news here is that whenever it comes to individual investment account, whether retirement or for education, whatever the purpose might be, you have a lot of flexibility. You can pick and choose the portfolio that you want. You have certain industries who are halal by default, right? And certain industries who are haram by default, and certain industries who are in between, like very vague area. So your job as a practicing Muslim is to open an account. It could be AGMA account, uniform gifts of, it's a kind of account for the saving of the kids, right? You can start with as simple as $100 to open an account with any of those socially responsible mutual fund companies, or like owned by Muslims. We have a lot. We have around 10, 15 different socially responsible or ethically responsible Muslim-owned mutual fund companies. Some of them actually, I'm the Sharia advisor of those companies, so I know very well what kind of business they do and how Sharia compliant their business is. So you can open an account, AGMA account, for your child, and just train him or her how to help you saving money. Okay, saving money in that account, and of course, they will be investing that money on your behalf. They will not be sleeping on the money. So $50, a month, or $100 a month for the education of your kids, it will make a huge difference within the next few years. I was like having a discussion with Dr. Hamdi before Isha. Told him that I have an AGMA account for one of my kids. He's only 10 years old. As of today, he has $7,400 plus dollars, $100 a month. Down the road, after a few years, you will find out that, alhamdulillah, the amount is good enough. It can take care of a good portion of the tuition fees and the life expenses if you're like, kid, whenever he or she finishes high school and ready to go to college. Again, if you make the right decision and you choose the right mutual fund company, Sharia compliant one, they will take care of the investment. They're going to make sure that they will be choosing like certain financial instruments or halal, and they can even help you filterizing whatever haram small percentage that might contaminate that account. They can help you paying zakat al-mal. They can help you even getting rid of that haram portion. So alhamdulillah, when it comes to like long-term investment for our kids, we have a lot of options. Let me mention the name of those two different companies that I'm the Sharia advisor of them. One of them is called Atina. Atina is spelled A-A-T-I-N-A-A. Atina, from the word Rabbana Atina fi dunya hasana. One more time, A-A-T-I-N-A-A.co, not .com. Right? This is one of them. And the other one is Zaki Financial. Zaki Financial, Z-A-K-I, ZakiFinancial.com. Okay. Of course, I mean we have a lot of like mutual fund company, but those companies that I'm positive that their investment is a Sharia compliant because I'm the Sharia advisor of those companies.
So as I advised my brothers and sisters to make it short, I will advise you, inshallah, to as well that be short for the answer, so we can accommodate many people, inshallah. Bismillah.
My name is Iman. So I have a question around the housing, purchasing of the house, either investment property or the personal property. So I explored a couple of options a couple of years back, but I could not like satisfied with the person from Islamic Finance that he is giving me, not based on what traditionally, if you go to the bank, they will ask you, okay, today's interest rate is 3.5%. So the same person from the Islamic Financial, when I asked him that how this thing works, so same thing, he said, okay, the latest rate is around 3.5, but what we will do is, we will be part of you, renting and landlord and renting, so you will be renting from us. But so then I said, okay, how this 3.5% of the interest came to the picture, and we are like a landlord and renters. But now I'm renting because I borrow money from you. So how does it work? So I could not get a satisfactory answer from him because he is going back again to the same 3.5% of the interest rate which the government has set, and he's calculating based on that.
So you made the assumption basically that if the so-called Islamic mortgage company is charging the same interest rate, then it should be as haram as the traditional one.
So can you explain how you think as a differently?
طيب, let me just take one step back and say that those five major Islamic mortgage companies, namely Guidance Residential, University Islamic Financial, Devon Bank, Ijara Loan, and La Riba. Are you aware of any major company other than those five? Okay, those companies that operate in the USA, they have to abide with the system. Mortgage industry is a highly regulated industry in the USA. Those five different companies, they deal in the secondary market. They sell those, they call them products or the contracts. They sell them in the secondary market to Freddie Mac and Freddie Mae to get their money cash. So at the end of the day, they have to abide with the rules and regulations of Freddie Mac and Freddie Mae. I know them very well. They know me very well. I just, sometimes I make a joke with them. I tell them that you are Freddie Mac compliant more than to be a Sharia compliant, which is the case. Without being in a compliance with the Freddie Mac and Freddie Mae, they cannot sell their products or their contracts. What do I mean by secondary market? There is a semi-governmental institute called Freddie Mac. It has been established a while ago to help people actually purchasing their own homes. So the reason behind the establishment of Freddie Mac is a very noble one, but the mechanism and the way actually is just a very traditional riba-based one. Those 5 companies cannot wait for the customers like you and I for 25 or 30 years to pay off the principal and the profit. So they have no other way other than just to turn around and to sell that contract that's worth $500,000, for example. They sell it cash for Freddie Mac for $470,000. They take the money and they go back and find a different customer. I mean, this is how the system works here in the US, whether we like it or not. All those 5 companies, they do deal with the secondary market. They sell their products to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. This is number 1. Number 2, when it comes to Sharia compliance and the effort that has been exerted to find a way that is up to certain limits Islamically acceptable, right? And meanwhile, the contract is still sellable in the secondary market. They are not in the same level. Some of them are very diligent and dedicated, right? And some of them are, I would say, half-half, and some of them, unfortunately, are not, right? In our fiqh council that I'm a part of, called AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, we did our own homework. We studied those contracts, okay, of those 5 different companies based on the request of the Muslim community. We do receive a lot of questions and inquiries about the Sharia compliance of those companies. We did our own homework. I was one of those individuals or researchers who have studied and read those contracts word by word, sentence by sentence, so much so that certain parts of the contract I know them by heart. To conclude, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, okay, this is not my personal opinion, came up with a declaration. Of course, I mean, we held an annual imams conference, and we brought the Sharia advisor of those companies, if they have any, to listen to their presentation and to get involved in a discussion with them to verify certain things. And then we came up with our own declaration. The conclusion actually is posted on AMJA website. If you go to amjaonline.org or just go to Google and search for AMJA, AMJA, of course, this is abbreviation, AMJA, Islamic Mortgage Company. Just click on it and you will read a very detailed declaration about those 5 different companies. Okay, the declaration actually is posted in both, in Arabic and English as well, right? The summary of this declaration is that Guidance Residential is the most Sharia compliant one. Guidance Residential. If Guidance Residential is not available for some reason, you can go maybe with the UIF, University Islamic Financial. If not, then with Devon Bank. And the other 2 actually are not Sharia compliant, period, whether Ijara loan or La Riba. Now, if you want to dig in depth and understand the mechanism why this one is more Sharia compliant, that's completely different discussion. But briefly, why Guidance Residential is more Sharia compliant? Here is the answer. Guidance Residential is the only, by the way, Guidance College that I represent has nothing to do with Guidance Residential. Guidance Residential is a mortgage company. Guidance College is just a university. It's a college. No connection between the 2 whatsoever. Guidance Residential operates in the USA as an investment company, not as a bank. So by the law of the land, they do have the right to own properties and take the risk and the liability of owning properties. And ownership, legal ownership, is the main difference between the traditional interest-bearing finance versus the Islamic one. Do they own the house jointly with you? They go with the mode of finance called diminishing or declining partnership, which means that they buy the house jointly with you. You start as minimum as 5%. Okay, you pitch in 5% and they pay 95%, and you start. Of course, I mean, you are the only one who occupies the house. You start renting and buying their shares. Do they comply with diminishing partnership requirements? The answer is no. No, they do not. There is, some glitches or some shortcoming in the contract, but at the end of the day, the main difference between the Islamic finance and the traditional one, which is the ownership, actually is there. It is proven that they do hold the title. They initiate an LLC that owns the house jointly with you, and you start, as I said, renting their share and buying their share. The rest of the the rest of the organizations, the other four, are operating as banks, right? By the law of the land, they do not have the right to purchase a house for business purposes. I mean, they can own a property to use as offices. They can re-own the property in case of foreclosure, for example. But when it comes to conducting business and making money, they cannot, right? And that's why, since the legal ownership is not proven, then we have a big question mark when it comes to really owning the property, being responsible, liable for it. We are not saying as AMJA that guidance residential is 100% Sharia. It is not. It is not, but it is the most reasonable, or I would say halal enough option for those who want to purchase homes. Now, connecting the interest rate with the profit rate would be fine. The most important thing is to make sure that the contract that you sign with that company is a Sharia compliant one. Is there like real actual ownership? The answer is yes. Are there any scenarios or cases where guidance residential do incur loss? The answer is yes. They have three different cases: foreclosure, eminent domain, when the house actually is owned by the county or by the state, and the third one is natural disasters. They do share the loss with you proportionally. If you are 40% owner and they are 60% owner, they incur 60% of the loss, and that's why we do believe that this option is better than other options. Number two, UIF, University Islamic Financial, they do have musharaka, and they have ijara and murabaha. Ijara means lease to own. Murabaha means cost plus, like they purchase the property cash, let's say for 100,000, and they sell it back to you for 150, for example, for 10-15 years. And the third one is Devon Bank in Chicago, Illinois. Those are the three in order: guidance residential, UIF, Devon Bank. The other two, La Riba and Ijara loan, we do believe that none of them actually is a Sharia compliant one, period. No.
Jazakallah khair. We will take one from here, inshallah. So this question, the Dr. بيقول, I have my retirement fund and I'm not vested. Vested, that means that he has no control of the retirement funds. The whatever company that you work for, they have control of that. But he can just give an opinion how to diversify the options. He said that diversification there is limited, and we have several companies. And I searched most of them, did my best to choose the right one. How much sin I'm committing from this retirement fund?
You are doing a devotion, and inshallah you will be rewarded for whatever you do, because securing and assuring financial sustainability and financial stability is a part of your deen. This is not my statement. This is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. When Sa'd radiallahu anhu wanted to bequeath 2/3 of his wealth, okay, he was like a wealthy individual, one of the companions, and he was about to leave this world life with only one daughter. So he wanted to get the blessing and the approval of the Prophet ﷺ to bequeath or to make a wasiyah 2/3 of his wealth to be given to non-inheritors. Prophet ﷺ said, that's too much. He said, how about 1/2? He said, no, 1/2 is too much. How about 1/3? قال الثلث والثلث كثير. 1/3, and even 1/3 is too much. Okay. Now listen to the justification or the fatwa of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, إنك أن تذر ورثتك أغنياء خير من أن تذرهم عالة يتكففون الناس. Leaving your inheritors, your legal heirs, your family members, wealthy or financially stable, sustainable, is way better than leaving them needy, begging people. And that's why I wholeheartedly believe that financial stability, work on it from now, is a part of your deen. You are worshipping Allah subhanahu, you are doing a devotion by assuring some financial resources for your family members. So to answer my brother who's asking the question, you are not committing a sin. You are doing a devotion. Inshallah, you will be rewarded. However, you need to do your best. Number one, to roll over to any of those Muslim-based mutual fund companies. if you have the power or the ability of rolling over your retirement account from Fidelity or from Vanguard or whatever to any of those Islamic or Muslim-based mutual fund companies, go for it. They will take care of your if your investment account or your retirement account. Now, let me just make a disclaimer here. The vast majority of those Muslim-based mutual fund companies do not have an active Sharia advisory board and supervisory board. So they claim that their practice is a Sharia compliant one. Is their claim accurate, inaccurate, true, excuse me, otherwise? We do not know, right? And I can bear witness, I can make a testimony for a company that I'm involved in. I see their database and see the process and the procedure of filterizing and just coming up with the halal stocks. For example, when it comes to Athena.co, from 12,000 different financial instruments in the stock market, they keep filterizing them until they reach to only 800 to 900 different stocks who are Sharia compliant according to Athena standards, right? Back to the question, if you can roll over to any of those Sharia compliant mutual fund companies, that would be the best option. If not, then you need to find out a way or another. Maybe you can run your portfolio by a specialized wealth manager or financial advisor who does have an access to certain database, who can unlock the secret of the portfolio that you have and tell you that, listen, you have between 15 to 20% haram investment in your retirement account. Let's say 20%. What should you do? By any chance, if you can change the portfolio, right? Modify it, get rid of those haram bonds and derivatives and futures and options, etc., and replace them with whatever is halal, go for it. If not, which is most probably the case, keep everything as is and dispose 20% of the profit or the dividend or the growth of that portfolio and pay 2.5% zakat al-mal on an annual basis, and this is the best you can do. Do not get rid of 20% of the account. No, dispose 20% of the profit of the annual profit of that retirement account, because it came most probably from haram resources. Most probably, I would say, bonds, derivatives, options, futures, different financial instruments that we do not even understand. How do they make money or how do they grow? But do not compromise. Do me a favor. Do not compromise your 401k. Do not give it up because you are not positive that your investment is halal. This is actually way too much, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might hold you accountable, because if you not taking care of your financial stability, not paying attention to the need of your family members, Allah forbids upon your death or la samahullah, disability. Keep everything as is and just dispose the exact percentage of profit that came from haram, and the rest actually would be fine. Pay zakah on the 2.5% annually, and you're good to go. No.
The brother has a follow-up question, but we'll take one from the floor and then we'll come back for the follow-up questions. The one behind you.
First question: if there's any way we can get those information about those companies, mutual funds, like website, to get it catch.
Well, you can search like ethically responsible. You can just go to Google, ethically responsible or socially responsible Muslim-based mutual fund. Maybe the most popular one is Azad fund, AZZAD, Azad fund. Okay, I'm not a part of the Sharia advisory board, but I'm positive that they do have very qualified Sharia advisory board. One of our members in the resident fatwa committee. Well, he's one of my mashayikh actually. His name is Dr. Muhammad al-Zuhaili. He's the younger brother of Sheikh Wahab al-Zuhaili. He's on the board. He's actually the head of the advisory board of Azad. So Azad fund actually is a good option. There are some other akhi companies, but again, the same disclaimer. I do not know how Sharia compliant they are. We have Sharia portfolio. We have Iman fund, which is a part of NATE. We have Amana fund. Again, I mean, كل يدعي وصلا بليلى وليلى لا تقر لهم. Everybody claims to be the most strict Sharia compliant one. Okay, how accurate their claim is, Allahu A'lam, I do not know.
second question.
Can we just one, and then we'll come back to you, inshallah. So each one will get the chance. Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu fi. The follow-up questions from the brother. He said the vest again is vested, so he's not has control. He has no control of the money. Should he pay zakat for it or not? For the retirement fund.
Yeah. When it comes to paying zakat al-mal, we have three different schools here, right? Some, like scholars say, that your retirement account is zakatable in full. I mean, this is the only like real actual investment that you have as a professional, as an employee. So you have to pay zakat on 100% of your retirement account. This is one school, and the other one says no. Okay, I do not have any control, like the brother here. I do not have any control over my 401k. I'm not even supposed to touch my retirement account until the age of retirement, or Allah forbids, in case of disability or death. So based on that, forget about your retirement account. No zakat whatsoever until the age of retirement. Whenever you turn 60, I think 65 years old, and you have a full access to your account, then you start paying zakat. We as a fiqh council, as AMJA, we hold the stick from the middle. We do not believe that both opinions actually are I would say, are authentic enough. But this is, again, I mean, this is just an ijtihad issue. I mean, this is our own reasoning. We might be right, we might be wrong. We said, okay, every single year, most probably in the month of Ramadan, where you like calculate and you pay your zakat, you need to find out, number one, how much money you have in your 401k or retirement account in general. How much money you have, or how much is the value, how much it's worth, your 401k. Number two, how much access you have to it. You might say, well, I do not have an access. Well, you do have, right? If you apply for a humanitarian case or for hardship, you might have an access to, let's say, 30, 40, 50%. It depends on the policy of the investment company, right? Fidelity maybe, and your employer as well. Anyway, you need to do your homework and you find out, if you decide to withdraw as much as you can, how much you'll be having an access to, right? That accessible amount, if you decide to proceed, you will not take it home as is, right? You will be penalized and charged, sometimes interest, processing fees, what else, tax, penalty, okay? You do your math and you find out how much is the rest or the net amount. That net amount, okay, if you want to be in the safe side, you pay zakat on it based on 2.5% zakat rate. And if you want to go with the book, right, not to pay more than your zakat, that would be fine. You can take another maybe 15-20% of that net amount, which represents what's called usul thabita, or the fixed assets, right? Because those stocks that you hold in the stock market, they do not represent commodities and merchandise 100%. They do have machineries and offices and software and hardware and like different devices and tools, right? Those, I would say, would represent 15 to 20%, right? So you take another 15-20% and you pay zakat on the rest. I mean, this is, wallahu alam, the most reasonable opinion. Okay, do not ignore your 401k zakat wise. Do not pay zakat on it in full. Rather, you go with the formula, withdrawable amount minus any prescribed penalty or tax or whatever. Net amount, you pay zakat on it based on 2.5%. If you do believe that AMJA's position is the most reasonable one, you do not have to backdate it. You do not need to pay zakat for the last 20-25 years because you did not pay zakat on it. Maybe you can just apply it from now on. Why? Because this is like just an ijtihad. I mean, I do not know whether our opinion is correct or not. But if you do believe it is the most accurate one, the most reasonable one, you can apply it from this year on. Wallahu.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Khalid.
Just a quick question, the comparison between the Islamic finance and buying a house from companies.
Use the mic so the online can hear you.
From companies that they already have their own finances. So some company actually they can finance. So which one is much more compliant?
If you are referring to construction companies or contractors who do build homes from A to Z, yes, right? Most of those companies, they do have their own affiliate mortgage company. Here is the trick, it differs from one state to another. Okay, in some states, they do allow, like the state of Texas, to my knowledge, they do allow the construction company to be 100%, or the 100% owner of the mortgage company. So if the construction company is owned by John Smith, and the mortgage company, the affiliate mortgage company, is owned by John Smith, the same individual, it means that you are not borrowing money. Why I'm saying this? Because if you want to proceed with their contract, you have to sign two different agreements, right? The construction agreement, which is Aqdul Istisna, we call it in the Islamic finance, manufacturing. They bring the raw materials and they do the construction for you, and they give you just the key, and you're good to go. Now this is one agreement, which is a pure halal one. Problem here is that aside from this contract, you have to sign another loan agreement that, oh, you are borrowing from us $500,000 for the house, and you have to pay it back $750,000 within the next 15-20 years, right? Why they ask you to sign a loan agreement? Because next day in the morning they just turn their face and they go to Freddie Mac and Freddie Mae and sell that contract and get their money, cash. $750,000. They take it cash, 720, and they move on to the next victim or to the next customer. You like the victim one, right? Yeah. So Habibna, if you are positive 100% that the affiliate mortgage company is owned by the construction company 100%, go for it, because there is no loan agreement to start with. The loan agreement is just an nominal. You are contracting someone to build a house for you. That's called Aqd Istisna. Problem here is that if the state does not allow the construction company to be 100% or to have 100% ownership of the mortgage company, it means that, let's say 70% maximum, or it means that there's a third party other than John Smith in our example, who is pitching in money, lending you money, and taking interest. If that is the case, then you cannot go with the construction company option, because there is a third party. Double check if you verify, and based on what I said, you can make a decision. Most of the states, to my knowledge, I might be wrong, they do allow construction company to own 100% of the affiliate mortgage company. If that is proven, then this is a wonderful option for you. Stay away from mortgage, even the Islamic mortgage companies, and just stick to the contractors. Build your own house, custom design a house in the way that you want, and just enjoy it.
Jazakallah khair. The next questions from online, that's from my dear brothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him full shifa, inshallah. What is your opinion about cryptocurrency from Islamic perspective?
We did actually, by the way, I always refer to our Fiqh Council, to AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. 3 or 4 years ago, when the question was raised for the first time, we issued a fatwa that it's really hard to prohibit dealing with cryptocurrency. Bitcoin at that time was maybe like the most popular cryptocurrency. What kind of problem we have with the cryptocurrency? Number one, it's a virtual currency. It's not a digital one only. It's not a fiat money. It's a virtual. It is a decentralized currency from day one. There is no financial authority behind it. There is no government. There is no like central bank or Federal Reserve behind it. Okay. One of the main factors or main reasons behind the authenticity and the permissibility of using any method as a currency is the general acceptance, the prevailing acceptance of the currency. Okay, which is most probably driven or taken from the authority of the regime or the government of that particular country. Why the American dollar actually is generally accepted? Because the government of the United States is standing behind it, right? It is guaranteed, it is issued, it is monitored by the American government. But when it comes to cryptocurrency, who is standing behind it? Mr. Anonymous. We do not know who is he or she, right? This is number one. Number two, the amount of risk or ambiguity, gharar, that you take is a huge one, right? Until today, believe it or not, we cannot track, we cannot find any legitimate justification behind the significant, fluctuation in the market value or the purchasing power of the cryptocurrency. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Can you tell me why the Bitcoin went down maybe 60 or 70% value back in 2016 or 15, if you remember? There is no answer. Why it is now like, reaching to the ceiling, reaching maybe 60 plus $1,000 per unit. There is no justification. Someone is just playing from behind the scene, right? Changing the value of those cryptocurrency. This is a huge risk that you are taking. The good news here is that the amount of prevailing acceptance, general acceptance, is increasing tremendously. Well, the IRS in the USA, believe it or not, they started acknowledging cryptocurrency as a method of payment. And believe it or not, you have to pay tax on the cryptocurrency that you have. Am I correct? You have to pay tax on the cryptocurrency that you have. A good number of central banks, a good number of commercial banks, a good number of international intercontinental companies, they started accepting cryptocurrency as a method, as a payment method, in the same way that you pay via credit card or debit card or cash, money or so the general acceptance actually is increasing. And having said that, whenever we reach to a point where cryptocurrency is generally accepted, we cannot say it is not a umla or it is not a currency. Well, it is. So our position as AMJA as of today is that we just advise the Muslim community not to trade with the cryptocurrency, stay away from it because of the risk. But it is not haram. We never said it is haram. And as we go, even the amount of karaha or undesirability is getting less and less. Why? Because the general acceptance actually is increasing. If you have nowadays like a good amount of money for investment, you want to designate 10-15%, you put it in cryptocurrency and take the risk of investing, go for it. I cannot say stop, but my recommendation, do not get involved because of the risk.
Brother in the back,
what's your take on life insurance? Whether it's something that's offered by the employer for free or something that you are willing to buy?
Briefly, Habibna, the mainstream fatwa is known to everybody, right? The different fiqh councils, including our own fiqh council, is that they do differentiate between the government-based insurance and the mutual-based insurance from one side versus the stock-based or the commercial-based one. They say that any kind of insurance, okay, sponsored by the government, or otherwise if it is a mutual-based insurance, it's not for profit. It's a kind of collaboration between different people to minimize the risk or to keeping it to the minimum. They look at those contracts as non-for-profit contracts, right? While any kind of commercial insurance is viewed as for-profit, because the commercial one or the stock-based one does have a kind of semi-gambling nature according to them. When it comes to life insurance, you pay less and you get more upon Allah forbid, upon your death. Your family members get way more than what you have paid during your lifetime. They issued a fatwa that life insurance is the most prohibited kind of insurance because it involves clear riba. You pay less and you get more. When it comes to any kind of insurance other than life insurance, like liability, like house insurance, like business insurance, they said that it does not involve riba, but there is a kind of ambiguity, misrepresentation. You do not know how much you will be getting in return. Well, I was adopting this mainstream fatwa all the way till 2015, 2016. And then I started reading more the opinion of those who believe otherwise, that insurance is halal by default. Shaykh al-Muhallilin, like the pioneer who made himself clear from day one, was Sheikh Mustafa Zarq, rahmatullah, okay, who has made it clear, and he actually put a book together, authored the book regarding the status of insurance, and he made himself clear that insurance is a pure Islamic concept. I went to the book of Sheikh Mustafa Zarqa and I read it twice, word by word, sentence by sentence. The conclusion, the summary of this book is that there is no difference when it comes to the contract itself between any government-sponsored or government-based insurance and any commercial one. Okay, when I say government-based in the US, okay, the first thing comes to your mind is the Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid. Am I correct? Okay. Now he said that any kind of insurance is not to be viewed as a unilateral agreement. It is bilateral agreement. Bilateral agreement means two-sided commitment. Okay, which means that you have to commit yourself to paying a certain amount of money in order for you to be eligible to receive certain amount of money. Okay, with all due respect, no one is doing you a favor. No one actually is giving you a sadaqah or zakah whenever you receive your money from the Social Security. Why? Because you are involved in a contract, right? Now, if you are not paying $50 or $70 every month to the Social Security, and Allah forbid something happened to you and you passed away, okay, without having Social Security account, will the Social Security Administration sympathize with your family members and start giving them money? No. The answer is no, because you did not contract them during your lifetime. So in a very simple language, very simple words, Social Security is telling you, give me $100 a month, and upon your death, I will take care of your wife and your kids based on certain system. I'm going to pay them until the end of her life for your wife, until they turn 24 years old, your kids, right? Life insurance company, whether it is stock-based or mutual-based, is telling you the same. Okay, give me $100 a month, and if you pass away, instead of paying your family members on a monthly basis, I'm going to issue like a one wet check, like very moist check, $1 million, one-time payment to your family members. Do not worry about them, just rest in peace, as they say, right? Now the Sheikh actually is just raising a question. What is the difference between the approach of the Social Security and the approach of the life insurance company? You either prohibit both of them because of the gharar and jahala and misrepresentation and ambiguity, or otherwise you just permit both of them, right? That approach actually made a lot of sense to me, and officially I changed my mind. Okay, although I'm a member in the Resident Fatwa Committee of AMJA, although the official position of AMJA is that life insurance is haram, it could be permitted in certain cases. One of them is what we have mentioned, that if it is offered by your employer, for example, you are not the one who is signing that agreement. It came as a part of the package, right? Like the health insurance, you get life insurance, you get retirement account, you get your salary. So even according to the mainstream fatwa, that's halal. I changed my mind, and I do believe that life insurance, whether it is a mutual based or a stock based, is a purely halal option. It is a contemporary transaction that has no precedence, in the past. And the default rule is that al-aslu fil mu'amalat wal uqud al-ibah. Okay, permissibility is the default rule of any transaction unless otherwise proven. With all due respect, I disagree that there is ambiguity here, because I know from day one, okay, what I will be getting in return. Insurance company is telling me, once you pass away, we're going to just issue $1 million check to your family members. So there is no ambiguity here. They commit to paying me in case of passing away before the age of 80 or 85. So based on that, I changed my mind and I bought my own life insurance policy. And I do believe that I have made, the right decision. If you want Akhil Karim to hold the stick from the middle and to be the safe side, you can look for any mutual based insurance company and purchase your life insurance. Because if you do so, you are still in compliance with the mainstream fatwa. They said that if it is a mutual insurance or government-based insurance, you are not committing anything haram, because as you know, the mutual-based insurance, they look for the best interest of the policyholders. Whatever surplus they make toward the end of the year will be distributed and given back to whom? To the policyholders. When it comes to stock-based insurance company, they pay a lot of attention. They look for the best interest of whom? Of the shareholders, right? So we have two different bodies. We have policyholders, al-umala, al-masakin, al-busata, al-customers, and we have the shareholders. All the money, the profit that they make will be going to whom? to the shareholders. This is in case of dealing with stock-based insurance company. If it is a mutual one, like Liberty Mutual, I'm not sure if they offer life insurance. If they do, just go ahead and purchase your life insurance policy with a mutual based insurance company. You will be catching two birds in one stone. You will be having a life insurance and you will be in a compliance with the mainstream fatwa. If you ask me personally, honestly, I do not see that differentiation. Whether the insurance company is a stock based or mutual based, honestly, I see it halal. Another member, we are 7 different members, like the resident fatwa committee. I'm one of them. Another member, his name is Dr. Walid al-Minesi. He changed his mind and he said that yes, life insurance, any kind of insurance is halal. So 2 out of 7 are saying that life insurance is halal by default. This is what I have. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Allahu alam, but this is what I believe in.
2 out of 7, so we need 5 to mashallah.
Yeah. Well, the good news here is that even the rest of the committee are becoming more lenient. I mean, in the past they were like very strict. I still remember a few years ago, we received a question from one of the masajid. The masjid was just burned out, and alhamdulillah, fortunately, it was insured. So they received like a good amount of money, right? And they sent us a fatwa question. Can we take, I think, $2 or $3 million? I don't remember details. Okay. The fatwa said, like the rest of the members, they said, well, this is for the best interest of the Muslim community. They want to reestablish or rebuild the masjid, so they can take the amount. While the original fatwa is that no, you cannot take more than what you have already paid. You need to calculate how much premium you have paid. Let's say, like in this example, the masjid has paid $75,000, for example, premium, and they received $2 million check. How much they can take from that $2 million? $75,000. The resident fatwa committee, no, they can take the whole like $2 million. So it's just a matter of time. Slowly, inshallah. I mean, you will hear that even the different fiqh councils are changing their mind and saying that insurance is halal. Personally, I do believe insurance is halal, and I highly recommend every single one lives in this society here to buy his or her own life insurance. You want to stay on the safe side? Go ahead and just like approach any mutual-based insurance company and purchase your life insurance to be in the safe side.
Very good, mashallah. So the questions coming online is related to the Islamic institutions, and it's kind of complaint. He said a lot of Islamic institutions have millions of dollars in bank accounts, and they insist to put that in a regular account without any interest. Are they wasting the money of the community? Should they invest that or put that in the saving account to earn some money for the community?
Well, if it is like a long-term saving, I don't think checking account is a good option. Saving account is not an option because it is a haram.
He mentioned some names of like charity organizations. I don't want to mention the names, but he knows one of the organizations have like 40 million in their account. I don't know how true is that. So they have 40 millions that can stay for more than a year.
Well, let me just give a general answer. Okay, if a certain organization does have a big chunk of money, and they know that that money will not be touched for at least 1 year, why do not they just open a mutual fund account, like simple investment account, with any of those Muslim-based mutual fund companies? They can make halal money. Of course, they cannot guarantee their principal. Be careful. They cannot guarantee their principal. They cannot guarantee their profit. But most probably, those mutual fund companies, they play it safe, and they know very well how to secure a good amount, like a good percentage, maybe 7, 10, sometimes even 12% annually. So instead of just sleeping on the money, okay, putting them in checking account, they can make a halal, profit from that money. Saving account is not an option. Checking account is not a good option. Opening like a brokerage account or simple investment account with those mutual fund companies owned by Muslims would be like a good option.
Brother.
So my question was on life insurance. I think I would ask you, and whether it's term life insurance or variable life insurance, any difference in terms of if it's halal or not. And as you know, the variable life life insurance is that there's an option of
The what? The
variable life insurance.
variable?
Yeah, variable.
Variable.
Oh, variable. Okay.
Where you invest money and you could actually get that money down the road. But there's also the death benefits. And my second question was the disability insurance.
Let me just answer the first one.
Yeah.
When it comes to life insurance, whether it is a term policy or life term, they call it? Life term, they call it?
Yeah.
Okay. There is no difference from a fiqh perspective. Whatever you agree with the like my personal one, I think it is valid until the age of 80.
Yeah.
So if I pass away before the age of 80 years old, they're gonna issue that check. If I stay until I pass 80 years old, then nothing for me, which is fine. This is number one. Number two, even within the life insurance policy, you have three different options. You can limit yourself premium wise. You can limit yourself to the insurance benefit, which is fine. You can increase your premium to get the insurance benefit and to make what is called the cash. There's a technical term. Like you get, cash acquisition, which is to get back the premium that you have paid. Like if your insurance benefit is 1 million, you will be getting one check 1 million and maybe another 7,000, 10,000, whatever you have paid as a premium. You will get them back. This is an okay option. Now the third one, if you decide to increase your premium, you will be getting the cash acquisition and the insurance benefit and interest on the cash. Interest on the premium. This is not an option. This is a purely riba one. So limit yourself to the just basic one. Like me, for example, I do pay I think $150 a month. And it's just very simple, straightforward. If I pass away before the age of 80, they're going to issue $1 million, to my family members. As simple as that.
Now, one question. One question.
That's interesting, brother. This is riba. Like if you ask more of that.
That one question, inshallah. Brother Islam.
It's a different topic, so I don't want to be jumping from topic to another. So I want to go back to the mortgage, because you did mention the strong part of guidance being the ownership. Their status as an investment company, not a lender. That makes them entitled to owning the house and then reselling it to the let's say if I'm buying the house. But what happens eventually is that all these companies, they eventually service the loan. Is what they call service the loan, is that they sell it, like you mentioned, to like Freddie Mac, or sometimes they even sell it to overseas investors. So what difference does it make at this point whether I got it from a lender who serviced the loan or from an Islamic finance company?
The ownership, Bank of America and Wells Fargo and Chase, they lend you $200,000 and you have to pay it back $300,000, right? They do not get involved in any kind of partnership. It's just a loan, right? Regardless of the market value of the house, whether it is appreciated or depreciated, something happened, insurance did not, cover for whatever reason might be. They are not responsible. They just, what they understand is that they gave you 200,000, you pay it back 300,000. If the Islamic finance practice is a genuine one, then no, they do actually take the responsibility. They do incur loss in case of certain incidents like foreclosure, like eminent domain, like natural disaster. So the difference actually is there. With one condition, we have to make sure that the Islamic practice is a genuine and sound one. Not every single company claims to be Sharia compliant. It is. La riba, for example, is the absolute riba. They call themselves La riba. Well, it is the absolute riba. Ijara loan, for example, it is not a Sharia compliant. Well, Ijara loan is not a lender. Ijara loan is a broker. They tell you that okay, you can go ahead and just shop around for any conventional loan. You get your loan approved, and you come to us. We use our magic touch to make it an Islamic one. So you commit riba twice. Number one, you apply for a conventional loan, and number two, whenever you are approved, they establish what's called the trust, right? And that trust borrows the money from the bank. So you commit riba how many times? Twice. Whatever they do after that makes no sense because it defeats the purpose. They borrowed the money based on a very conventional way from the bank that you get approved by. So it makes no sense. And that's why we are unanimous when it comes to Ijara loan, the 7 members, that it is non-Sharia compliant. When it comes to La Riba, we are unanimous, no disagreement whatsoever, that La Riba is the absolute actual riba. Stay away from it.
Jazakallah khair. We don't need to get the doctor so tired, so we'll get one questions from online and maybe 2 from the ground, inshallah. That is okay, Doctor? 3 more questions, good?
Wallahi, I got my dinner and my coffee, so I'm
Alhamdulillah.
I'm good.
All right.
I can stay until tomorrow morning.
الله أكبر الله.
حتى مطلع الفجر.
ما شاء الله.
I mean, as long as you have, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you are in charge.
I mentioned this question for you. I think the brother has plenty of funds and he wants to make the best of it. So he is torn between donating it to Islamic institution like a masjid or so, or building a graveyard. What he should do. What should he do?
قلنا الحي أبى من الميت.
We need to be fair to him, inshallah.
No. Well, yeah, I would say there is no like one size fits all. It depends on which community he is living in, right? If there is no Islamic cemetery for the community there, then actually it is a must. I mean, we have to invest some money to designate a certain piece of land only for Muslims. I mean, this is something uncompromisable. If they do not have a masjid, then it's good to to donate that money to build them. Yeah, I cannot imagine of a functional Muslim community without having a masjid. So it depends. I mean, what kind of facility, what kind of services they have. Are they in need for a Muslim cemetery? If the answer is yes, then go for it. Are they in need for a masjid? If the answer is yes, then go for it. If they do not have enough knowledgeable students of knowledge, well, maybe he can help by investing that money, training those kids, those like brothers and sisters, like the young generation, sending them to Islamic institutes or universities or colleges to gain their degrees in Islamic studies. You see, so it depends on the need. Yeah, there is no one size fits all. It depends on what kind of community, what kind of need they have, and then based on that he can make a decision. If he's so worried about the money and he wants to get rid of it, just give it to me. I will to guide this college, inshallah, I will take care of it.
I hope the brother heard Dr. Al-Qudah that الحي أبى من الميت. إن شاء الله. جزاك الله خير. Brother Abu Ubaida إن شاء الله.
القضاء زي ما قاضي احنا اسمنا القضاء.
القضاء.
نعم معا الاسم الاول معا القضاء زي ما قاضي.
الله أكبر. That's my fault. I need to correct the name. ما شاء الله. استغفر الله العظيم. دكتور معن القضاء. القضاء.
I mean, that's the name, just the name.
الحمد لله. بارك الله فيك. جزاك الله خير. No, that's Abu Ubaida raised his hand from the first question, and he keep giving it to the one beside him. It's your turn, Yasir. Bismillah.
Is it possible or permissible to buy a house through guidance residential for investment?
The answer is yes, because halal investment is a legitimate need. So even if you have your own house and you want to buy another one for investment purposes, go for it.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Umar. Brother Umar al-Faruq and then Brother Luqman. Inshallah.
So there is a fatwa regarding the conventional loans that says that since purchasing a house is a darura, you can buy, you can use actually conventional loans to purchase a house since it's a darura. Can you comment on that? That specific fatwa? I know it is. I think it's. I'm not sure.
نعم أخي, this fatwa was issued by His Eminence Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi حفظه الله وطال عمره ونفع به الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم آمين. He issued this fatwa, I think 25 years ago, in a time where the Islamic mortgage companies were not as available as today. Okay, this is number one, and number two, it was based on the Hanafi madhab, and they have their own justification of dealing with interest outside the Muslim world. Our Fiqh Council, Amja, with all due respect, disagree actually with the justification and the like supporting evidence of the fatwa. We disagree with the fatwa. Okay, with all due respect. And number two, we say that even if the fatwa, was a temporary solution for Muslims 25 years ago, it is not the case nowadays. I mean, if you do have a halal enough option to purchase a house, why should you jeopardize your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you go and deal with the conventional mortgage company while the halal one is there?
So let's go a quick follow-up question. How is purchasing a house considered a darura at any point in time? I just don't understand the concept.
Yeah, it's not a darura. Living in a house, finding a place to live in is a darura. Okay, living in a house could be, as a darura, could be satisfied by just renting a place. I mean, you can just rent an apartment, rent a house. You don't have to own the house. So, like one of the areas of disagreement with our Sheikh Al-Qaradawi is that he considers, as he said, that purchasing is a darura. Well, it is not. I mean, I need to find a place to live in, right? If I can purchase a house in a halal way, that's the best option. But if not, I don't have to own the house. I can just rent a house. See? So purchasing a home actually is not a rule. It's not.
Brother Luqman, inshallah.
Yeah.
My question is it allowed to buy a life home insurance? It's a life home insurance.
Life home insurance?
Yes. So with this expectation that if something happens, maybe you pass and they will pay for the
Oh, that's a mortgage insurance, because
loan of the house.
mortgage insurance, right? Like
Yeah,
if you pass away without paying off the house,
Yes.
the insurance company would pay the mortgage on your behalf.
He's talking about something.
Is this what you?
This one is a kind of, it just, keep sending us, we call it life home insurance. Like you just bought a house, they don't keep sending you all those materials that in case you lose your job or you pass away, so that your family won't,
They
become
pay off
less.
your mortgage.
They
on a
will
certain
pay,
criteria.
they will pay on your behalf, right? The rest of the loan to the company that you.
Go for it, Akhi. Go for it. I mean, the most controversial one is the life insurance. If I do believe that life insurance is halal, then whatever comes after that is halal by default. Go for it. Bismillah.
One from online and one from you, inshallah. So the one from online this time, Doctor, is following. الأخوات, any sisters had the questions, please? But most of the questions coming online is from the akhawat. So alhamdulillah. So, but this is a brother. The brother is saying that in the city that I'm in, one bedroom apartment is $1,300. And if I buy a house through commercial loan, I will pay about $850, $900. I don't know where that at, or less than $1,000 for the house as a mortgage. When I move on, I will sell the house. I will consider that as a rent, not as a mortgage.
No, this is not the standard to permit mortgaging a house. Number one, Islamic mortgage companies are available. Number two, it depends on his financial, capacity. I mean, he pays $1,300 as a rent. Is that correct?
He said that in the city that he lives in, $1,300 for one bedroom.
Which is fine. I mean, if he is wealthy enough, if he makes the $10,000-$12,000 a month, then paying $1,300 rent is nothing. So the standard here is not how expensive is renting a house. The standard is the financial ability of that individual. Can he afford it or not? Okay. Number one, if we do not have Islamic mortgage companies like licensed in his state, then we need to ask a question: how much you make monthly? If you can easily afford the rent, then purchasing a house conventionally through like regular mortgage companies is not an option for you. There's no darur. I mean, you are like well off. I mean, you can pay for your rent easily. Why you buy a house? No.
Who's next? Brother, that you have a next.
Wait.
Bismillah.
My question is, sometimes we can borrow money from our 401k to buy some cars or something else. So here we pay interest, but that interest goes to my fund. So is it also haram or halal?
No, actually, it is halal because borrowing from your 401k is just a legal way for tax reduction or tax evasion. It's a legal way, right? But in reality, there is no loan involved here because the money is yours, and the interest, as you said, that you pay will be going back to your own account. So it's like a joke, as if you're like moving money from one pocket and putting it in the other pocket, right? So borrowing from your 401k actually is fine. I mean, you can go for it. If you did not get a chance to attend the khutbah today, Hamdi, I was announcing that Guidance College is purchasing 18 acres piece of land. We are in the process of building a masjid and university campus and K-12 Islamic school and youth center and healthcare clinic. We need your financial support. If you did not get a chance to attend the khutbah today, there is a booth outside and pledge forms and donation box. Would you please be as generous as possible with our project? Jazakumullah khair.
Yeah, please do.
Just a commercial break.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah khair. Can I get the one online and then get just one online is follow up with Dr. Al-Qudah that he's saying that sir, you have discredited most of the Islamic finance and you concentrated on one or two that he does not remember. So why are you telling now go to Islamic finance and most of them are discredited?
I was just reported or just narrating to you the official position of AMJA, and I'm not coming up with my own position or my own fatwa. Just go to AMJA online or just search AMJA Islamic mortgage companies and you will read declaration with some details of every single one of those 5 different companies. So I'm not here, to credit or to discredit. I'm just here to, share with my community the information that our council already issued.
He wants to know that if there are any credited organization that can go with.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, guidance residential actually is the best option. If not, then University Islamic Financial. If not, then Devon Bank. That's it. Ijara loan and La Riba are not options according to AMJA.
Jazakallah khair. Ahmad Mustafa.
Yeah, going back to cryptocurrency, what about mining? Mining for cryptocurrency.
What do you mean by mining?
Mining, they have like a computer and they validate the transaction for cryptocurrency. And they get, if you validate, you got money. If you did not validate, you get money.
Well, eventually you are trading in cryptocurrency, either in the mining process or in the final product, process, or in the something else called they call them the coins. No, not the coins, the tokens, right? Which is like one step toward converting those tokens into actual real cryptocurrency. The process, fiqh ruling wise, it should be the same. At the end of the day, you are taking your way to invest in cryptocurrency. If the final product, which is the cryptocurrency, is not haram, then anything before should be halal by default, while using caution. Okay, while just making it clear that this is not, I would say, something that should be within your comfort zone because of like whatever I already explained, the ambiguity and the gharar involved in it. No.
We have 2 more questions from the floor, inshallah, and we'll conclude. So everybody is start to leave. So we'll conclude, inshallah, with dua after 2 more questions. Islam, who's next? All right, you asked before. All right, we'll get 3 questions then. Abdullah and brothers. You asked it before, sorry. Bismillah.
So my question is about purchasing cars. So
Alhamdulillah, so we got 1 hour.
so I heard someone, I can't remember if it was a sheikh or someone just advising, but simply if you go into a dealership and they say, like, you sit with a finance manager there and they'll say, we'll send you this car, 2.99 for 5 years or over 60 months, right? So they were saying that the Islamic way of doing this is agreeing on a final purchase price and dividing that into 60. Well, my
Installment.
yes, in an installment basis. Like he basically put it away, like just put it in an Islamic contract way. So.
They call
for me,
it buying out the interest. For example, you insist in
Yes.
buying a car that does not have zero APR, does not.
Yes.
Well, my advice, akhi, stay away from it and find another car that does have zero APR. But if you insist, akhi, if you insist, and you can change the deal. Let's say, for example, that the total price of the car is 20,000 and the interest after doing the math is $3,000. You can change the whole contract. Instead of having 20,000 principal plus 2.5%, $3,000 within the next 5 or 6 years. If you can change the contract, if you can negotiate a deal to increase the price, not to decrease the price, and make it $23,000 price with zero interest on certain installment period, that would be fine. But I'm not 100% confident with this option, because originally they look at it as if you are paying the interest. Of course, they're going to ask you to pay like a good amount as a down payment, right? Well, they interpret what happened is that you are paying the interest up front, right? You look at it as if it is just a zero APR. It's not a pure halal option for me, haram option for me. My advice, stay away from it. But if you insist, you can buy out the interest. Just make sure that the price of the car is like, you know, well identified, and the APR is zero APR. Whatever down payment you pay upfront would be fine.
Jazakallah khair, brother. Can you mention your name so we can? I forgot your name.
My question is about financing business. There's no way to borrow money, halal way to finance your business.
It depends on the nature of the business. Universal Islamic Financial, they do have flexibility more than guidance residential. Guidance residential so far is just limited to residential only, just for purchasing or financing homes. UIF, they do have commercial, but you need to consult with them what kind of commercial they do finance. I really doubted that they are willing to give you cash money to establish a business, but you need to double check with them. And whatever I said about UIF applies to Devon Bank as well. Talk to them and find out.
Jazakallah khairan. I think that we should come to a conclusion. Brother Omar is yawning, so it's about time. It's about time to do it, inshallah. So if we have questions, brothers first, so that brothers will.
I mean, my quick question was on disability insurance and whether that is permissible and halal, meaning that you pay premium every month, whether you get it from employer or you get additional disability.
Again, if
can you repeat the question so that
the most
people online to hear it?
He's asking about the disability insurance.
Yes.
If the most controversial insurance, which is the life insurance, is halal, in my opinion, then anything else should be halal. Just have a piece of mind.
Bismillah, Khalid.
Public or non-profit organizations is always struggle. Schools, for example. From your experience, what's the best way we can get a loan, for example, for funding school?
No, do not get a loan. We need to get out of the box and change the way that we structure our Islamic organizations. Take Al-Qudah Islamic Center and Guidance College. We have a partnership between the two. In our master plan, if you see it, you can go to guidancecollege.org and just click on Al-Qudah Islamic Center. You will see the master plan. We do have between, I would say, 3 to 5 acres designated for the commercial business related to Al-Qudah Islamic Center. In our master plan, we have 3 different compounds, apartment complexes, right? And strip mall. Okay. If our plan goes through, inshallah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can break even. We can like from the least revenue that you make from those apartments and the strip mall, we can cover the regular expenses, the overhead expenses of the masjid and the Islamic Center. So we need to change our mind and the way that we plan for our Islamic institutions. If not, then from now on, we can establish an endowment fund. AMJA, for example, our fiqh council established an endowment fund. We collected almost now $1 million to buy a property as a waqf. So whatever money generated will be covering the regular expenses of. We need to find a way and just stop turning to our community and just keep, raising fund. I mean, this is very exhausting and it takes us nowhere. We need to change the way that we structure the business and make sure it is self-sufficient financially by establishing, like if you are still planning for a new project, go ahead and establish endowment or a part of it to be a commercial, to cover, not commercial literally, to be an endowment to cover the expenses of the rest of the project. If not, you can establish an endowment fund, say, raising money, buying a property or whatever, and whatever money comes would be taken care of the expenses. I mean, this is the way out. Wallahu a'lam. No.
There is another su'al, but I have not got it yet. She said she is writing it, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy, inshallah. Any other questions on the ground? Very fast.
On this point, how do we establish the ideal wealth? So I think one of our greatest Islamic financial concepts is the wealth. So how do we get, for example, my point of it was to get the Islamic institutions to
charitable trust. This is the closest model of the waqf. It's not 100% waqf, because even if it is registered as charitable trust, you can still sell the property. While in the Islamic waqf, you cannot sell, the mawquf or the waqf itself. But the closest legal structure of al-waqf is the charitable trust. Simple, charitable trust.
Assalamu alaikum. My employer automatically contribute to my life insurance. Is it halal or haram for my inheritance to collect? We already answered that.
I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly.
Her employer contribute to the life insurance, to her life insurance, and she's asking, is it halal or haram for that to be inherited? For inheritance for children.
No, actually it is halal, even if you want to go with the mainstream fatwa. Even according to the mainstream fatwa, this is a halal life insurance because it was not established by you as an employee. I mean, this is a part of the package that you receive from your employer. So he is the one who signed the agreement. He is the one who is securing the fund, for you upon your death. So خذها ولا تخف. أو إذا كانت أخت كلي واشربي وقري عين.
ما شاء الله. جزاكم الله خيرا. We are actually so honored to have Dr. Ma'in Al-Qudah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and bless his knowledge and increase his knowledge. Dr. Ma'in is the president of the Guidance College. And the Guidance College promotions outside. Please take one and contribute generously to the project. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our scholars in this land, so we get to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala hudan wa ala noor, inshallah rabbil alamin. Jazakallah khairan. Dr. Ma'in, can you lead us in dua, inshallah, to conclude?
Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إنا نستعينك ونستهديك ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك ونؤمن بك ونتوكل عليك ونثني عليك الخير كله. نشكرك ولا نكفرك ونخلع ونترك من يفجرك. اللهم إياك نعبد ولك نصلي ونسجد وإليك نسعى ونحفد. نرجو رحمتك ونخشى عذابك إن عذابك الجد بالكفار ملحق. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك، ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا، ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا أبدا ما أبقيتنا، واجعله الوارث منا، ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا، واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا، وانصرنا على من عادانا، ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا إلى النار مصيرنا، ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك فينا ولا يرحمنا، واجعل الجنة هي دارنا. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك، وبطاعتك عن معصيتك، وبفضلك عمن سواك، يا فارج الهم، يا كاشف الغم، يا مجيب دعوة المضطرين، يا رحمن الدنيا والآخرة ورحيمهما. أنت ترحمنا فارحمنا برحمة تغننا بها عن رحمة من سواك. اللهم ارحمنا فأنت بنا راحم، ولا تعذبنا فأنت علينا قادر. والطف بنا يا مولانا فيما جرت به المقادير، ودبر لنا فإنا لا نحسن التدبير. يا من عليك العسير يسير، دبر لنا فإنا لا نحسن التدبير. اللهم إنا نعوذ برضاك من سخطك وبعفوك من عقوبتك وبك منك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. لك الحمد حتى ترضى، ولك الحمد إذا رضيت، ولك الحمد بعد الرضا، ولك الحمد على حمدنا إياك. سبحانك أنت أحسن من خلق، وأرحم من ملك، وأعدل من حكم، وأسرع من دعي، وأكرم من سئل. نسألك اللهم الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل، ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا، وقلبا خاشعا، ولسانا ذاكرا، ويقينا صادقا، وعملا صالحا متقبلا. نسألك اللهم عيش السعداء، وموت الشهداء، ومرافقة الأنبياء. اللهم إنا نسألك الشكر على النعماء، والصبر على الضراء، والرضا بالقضاء. اللهم ارحم أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم انصر أمة محمد. اللهم ارفع قدر أمة محمد. اللهم بيض وجوه أمة محمد. اللهم اشف مرضى أمة محمد. اللهم ارحم موتى أمة محمد. اللهم احقن دماء أمة محمد. اللهم أعز أمة محمد. اللهم من أراد بأمة محمد خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير، من أراد بأمة محمد شرا فقد أخذ عزيز مقتدر. اللهم اغفر لآبائنا، اللهم اغفر لأمهاتنا، اللهم ارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا. اللهم ارزق عنا مشايخنا وعلماءنا وأساتذتنا ومربينا خير الجزاء. اللهم جازم بالحسنات إحسانا، بالسيئات صفحا وغفرانا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.
جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله فيكم.